Foundation, for those of you who are not familiar. Danang Foundation was founded in 2006 by our very own venerated Tsewang Rinpoche. Tsewang Rinpoche graduated from Nechung Buddhist College in Tibet and completed his traditional 3-year retreat under the guidance of his root guru, the esteemed Drupon Dechen Rinpoche of Tsupu Monastery. Following this, Drupon Rinpoche and the 10th Kyabje Pawa Rinpoche sent Tsewang Rinpoche to serve as abbot of Naino Monastery, a position he served for 9 years. In 1999, Tsewang Rinpoche escorted His Holiness on the journey from Tibet to India. In the United States, Tsewang Rinpoche established Danang Foundation upon the Buddhist spirit of compassion and conducts its activities for the benefit of all beings. Danang Foundation focuses on 5 aspects: education, charity, providing medical care, cultural preservation, and environmental protection. Some of Danang projects include establishing schools to provide free education, providing medical care to rural, difficult-to-reach areas, financing of orphanages, and supplementing medical care for the elderly Sangha members, etc. All these are aimed at benefiting as many as possible and making their lives meaningful. Over the years, Danang Foundation has also established Tibetan Buddhist Center right here in Flushing, Danang Publications, and Danang Library. We encourage you to join us as a friend of Danang to be part of our effort and Dharma activities. More information about how to become a friend of Danang can be found at the information desk. In a very short while, our empowerment will begin. But before that happens, we have some housekeeping rules to share with you. You already know that there's an information desk at the entrance. In case you want more information regarding lunch or traffic or the venue, feel free to proceed to the information counter for answers. And secondly, we have a gift shop. You would have seen it as you exit the elevator. There you can browse and pick up souvenirs and items that may catch your fancies. Thirdly, the teachings today will be consecutively translated into Chinese. However, if you need English or Spanish translations, please adjust your FM radios to 87.5 for English translations or 107.2 for Spanish translations. We do have a limited number of radio sets for sale at the entrance. Alternatively, you may also access kagyutv.org on your smartphones for the English translations. That's www.kagyutv.org. So kagyutv.org for the English translations. Next, please turn off all your electronic beeping devices that may cause distractions during the teachings. No flash and no photography allowed. Absolutely no photography allowed unless you're the designated photographer. And if your child begins to cry or cause distractions, please take him or her outside so that disturbances can be avoided. Last but not least, there will be a lunch break in between sessions. You need not leave the venue at all, but if you do, you have to go through security check again. And the doors will only be reopened at a later time. And so to prevent congestion at the entrance, we do encourage you to return as soon as possible if you leave the venue during break. Okay, the event is about to begin. We will begin very, very shortly, so please get into your chairs as soon as possible.
尊敬的仁波切、喇嘛、法师以及远从各地来的法友们，大家早安！达朗基金会在这里向您说声扎西德勒，吉祥如意。现在法会即将要开始了，还没有就座的法友们，请您现在赶快入座，让我们用最安静肃穆的一种气氛来迎接今天这场难得的法会。 我们达朗普善基金会非常荣幸，在这一次噶玛巴访美行程当中，能够给我们机会举办今天的不动佛开示跟下午的灌顶活动， 让我们都可以领受不动佛的智慧甘露以及法王的慈悲加持。在这里向您简单的介绍主办单位达朗普善基金会。达朗普善基金会成立于2006年，基金会的创办人是尊贵的财旺扎西仁波切。仁波切毕业于西藏的乃琼佛学院，依止楚布寺的上师竹本德钦仁波切为根本上师，并且圆满完成了3年3个月的噶举传承的闭关修持，后由上师竹本仁波切跟巴沃仁波切指派为乃朗寺的住持，长达9年。那么在1999年的时候，许多朋友可能已经知道，财旺仁波切为了护送大宝法王平安的离开西藏，抵达印度，才1999年就离开了西藏。那么达朗普善基金会是本着佛法慈悲精神跟默默行善，拥抱全球关怀，跨越种族、地域跟语言的隔阂，从事5大目标，那就是济贫、偏远地区的医疗、孤儿养护跟老喇嘛的照顾，另外也开办教育跟环保护生等5大目标，希望为世界各个角落无助的人能够点亮一盏希望的明灯。多年来，达朗普善基金会并扩展出了许多下辖的机构，包括藏传佛教中心，包括达朗普善图书馆以及达朗文化事业出版社。所以今天您在进场的时候看到的很多结缘品，就是达朗文化出版社所出版的。那么在这里，各位在我们现场的蓝色的这个里面的法本里面，也会看到达朗普善基金会所附上的一个信封，也欢迎您加入达朗之友，欢迎您加入达朗之友，让我们一起为这个世界跟社会建构更和平的未来。在这里，法会开始前向大家报告我们现场提供的几项服务。除了现场的咨询台的服务呢，有任何的疑问都可以到我们现场的咨询台，有关今天法会的问题，还有附近的交通跟中午用餐活动等等。另外，现场翻译，我们在讲台这边是提供中文翻译。如果现场有英文翻译的朋友，您可以将您的频道自己带来的收音机的频道调到87.5。另外，现场还有西班牙文的翻译是107.2。如果您忘了带收音机，想要收听英文的频道，也可以调到 kagyutv.org kagyutv.org。我们也非常感谢达朗现场的噶玛巴基金会的工作人员在现场架设了网络直播，所以也可以通过网络直播收听今天上午的开示以及下午不动佛的灌顶。另外提醒您，在中午法会结束的时候，我们基本上不清场，中午不清场。但是如果您要出去用餐的话，我们必须要再通过安检跟查验门票。查验门票的方式是您手上今天入场的时候盖的这个蓝色的戳记。如果蓝色的戳记不见了，被洗掉的话，您的门票还是必须要保留。我们现场的时候，在下午1点钟开放入场的时候，如果您手上蓝色的戳记盖章不见的话，还是必须要凭票入场。另外，也需要通过严格的安检。在这里提醒您，法会即将要开始。如果您有手机或者会发出震动的一些电子设备，麻烦您关闭手机。还有现场不可以拍照，或者是使用闪光灯。另外，为了维持现场的这个平和的开示的这个气氛，我知道现场有许多家长带了您的孩子来听法。如果待会儿孩子吵闹的时候，也拜托麻烦家长先将您的孩子带出会场安抚之后，再看情况进入会场。谢谢您的合作，谢谢。
Just to repeat, the teachings today will be consecutively translated into Chinese. If you need English or Spanish translations, please adjust your FM radios to 87.5 for English and 107.2 for Spanish. We do have a limited number of radio sets for sale at the entrance. Alternatively, you may access kagyutv.org on your smartphones for the English translation. That's www.kagyutv.org.
I don't know. Where's it?
Right now it's in front of the room over there, blocking the hallway.
Can you go down? Danny，请问在哪里？ You have to go down. You have to go downstairs. Otherwise, you go to the information table. Ask them to call this. Danny, yes.在这里，请大家配合一件事情，在这边，请大家务必配合一件事情。我们现场的座位是预先已经排列好的，现场的座位是预先排列好的，所以也是为了基于一些防火跟安全的理由，请您不要任意移动您的座位，请您不要任意移动您的座位，谢谢您的合作。
We need everyone's cooperation in this. We have arranged the chairs for a reason. It is for your safety. It is for safety reasons the way we arrange your chairs. So please do not rearrange your chairs. Do not move your chairs.
AA of them. 杰心，杰心你在哪里？请到前面来。杰心，请到前面来。宣布一个好消息，法王即将要到了，法王即将快要到了，所以请大家还没有入座的，麻烦您请尽快入座，法王即将就要到了。
We have good news for you. We know that His Holiness is on his way and will be arriving shortly. So please, everybody, get into your seats as soon as possible. For your convenience, I'm repeating this. The teachings will be consecutively translated into Chinese. If you need English or Spanish translations, please adjust your FM radios to 87.5 for English and 107.2 for Spanish. And if you want to access the English translations on your smartphones, please go to kagyutv.org. That's spelled KAGYUTV.org or Danang Foundation, one word, danangfoundation.org.
如果您想要同时收听英文频道的话，除了收音机频道87.5之外，也可以到 cargill.org。另外呢 Danang Foundation 也有现场的直播，您可以直接收听 Danang Foundation 的声音频道，英文的声音频道。 就坐，法王即将到来，法王已经在楼下了，请大家安静就坐。还没有找到您座位的朋友，麻烦您现在尽快就坐，请您不要使用相机或者是闪光灯。另外，也再度提醒您，如果有手机的话，请尽快关机，尽量关机。谢谢您的合作。
So if everyone can just settle down, we are expecting His Holiness to arrive very, very shortly. Just a final reminder, please turn off all beeping devices and anything that may cause distractions. And if your child cries or makes noise during the empowerment, please do take him or her outside so that distractions can be avoided. So for those of you who need English translations, a final reminder, the frequency to tune into for English translation is 87.5. 87.5. If you are accessing kagyutv.org or Danang Foundation through your to your smartphones, the website to access is www.kagyutv.org. That's kagyutv.org or Danang Foundation, one word. However, Danang Foundation might be a little slower, so we encourage you to access www.kagyutv.org for English or Chinese translations.
请大家站起来。因为现场空间有限，请大家3问讯即可，不用礼拜。
Due to the lack of space, please do not prostrate.
Sanje Jodo Zoje Jono Lo Janju Bado Dame Doje Jinsu Gibe Sona Rola Benche Zanje Jobrai Shoi Senje Danje Dewa Dewe Joda Dembra Jurje Dungal Da Dungal Ki Joda Jawai 你人教导你当着。当年我们全部那边就些恰恰了我当去见上，之所以让贵先是我也给我众生大劫之灾不，他们这大劫前我们本身啥多啥嘛呀嘛努巴拉呀本身啥多的努巴的着的。面包瓦斯多嘎有面包瓦斯不嘎有面包，安诺拉多面包瓦斯瓦西的面扎耶扎萨瓦格玛苏萨面，知道西雷亚格罗我巴嘎，瓦达达嘎达面扎拉满面面扎面zemba。Mahasamaya Sadhu Wen Zara Bo Mi Ai Shi Nambra Da Bo Wan Je Zara Ge Sai Shi Wen Zara Ge Ai Chi Jara Goyo Ge Ra We Yon So Karo We We Su Ri Ge Bo Ri O Chara Shara le babo lo zambo le no balanje jan drami da le bai nga ya je yon de da lam jo do drami nyin da drami nyin ge rambo je re wa ba zam je jen de je ye ba ma me ba ye lo Rimboje, Norobo Rimboje, Zamo Rimboje, Limbo Rimboje, Lambo Rimboje, Dajo Rimboje, Magme Rimboje, Derejimbo Yembumba, Kimo Ma, Tenwa Ma, Lu Ma, Garai Ma, Medo Ma, Dobe Ma, Nansalam. Tijama Nyema Dai Wai Rinpoche Do Chole Nambra Gyalwegi Uzo Lhada Miya Banjaro Bunzum Zoba Mazawa Meba Andanya Dugi Janlen Daba Ngumbara Gwede Andanya Zome Baden Lame Dambe Zadron Dog Ji Ongro Kachu Samo Shive Yendo Buwaragi O Dorjen Drove Dundo Shesus Shene Jingi Ladu Senji Namji Samba Loye Jidraji Chijon de monde boye je korlo gordo so.
Rame doji kyong wana zhe bade zawe nama rinpoche dagi jibu bime de kadin chenpe kwanin che son ten kusong do jen wu ru za do tadin de pepe lama chuku di sege manzo yong ya ane ngadu diligi semdi shuayi
首先呢，在这里呢，对所有与会的仁波切，还有上师，还有出家众，以及所有的法友弟子们，首先向大家问候早安。
大家呢？ 다 드린 게 그것도 봐봐. 선물을 다지 열래야. 너네 좀 된데 당고 뭐 민출배 거네. 안다 치료 샤려야 다 민출배 거네. 원그루 샤르데. 안드린 주상 아주 샤려야. 민출바 고 민출배게 지 냠랜다 제베기 토네 에너지 가르에 드시에도 디스지 도점지 야브로지 순고도
那么今天呢，我们今天的课程的安排是这样的。那么，因为下午呢是进行的是阿处比佛，也就是不动佛的这个灌顶。 所以呢，早上是这个不动佛的仪轨的实修的一些解释，Danang Foundation 是这样的要求法王的。
大家呢，这档给的아니, 당 고문민주배기 대 지가루에다 냠네 세마루에다 다디기 아니 냠시에 털입니다. 되네 데벨로 다 하시에 응리야. 되네 좀 되는데 민주가다 제가 냠네 차 디지털입니다. 바람기에다 하나 미센 제제 다디 가주에 디토리입니다. 다디 디스 수주용에 되네 가주가 지단도 수주 냠낸 시작사 중도 용토 영화를 이미디야 디토리아 미세 하나로씩 제비
Several years ago, I became particularly interested in the practice of the Buddha Akshobhya. And while I wouldn't say that I have out of that practice, I remain extremely devoted to it.
아디 미망문치기 계지 지식의 정도 알아서나 아 그런 게 민주배기 가져다 냠내셔야 콜이야 도난제 그게 좀 생각이야 다디기 가져다 缘起什么中间가리마 다디 간레지 제스 게제 티시버에 섬정게 마시 미망부지 게제 티소 데레 인자 데레인데 아는 얘기 미세다 우미 주베게다 냠랭 토레입니다 준비 중세 토나를 제과 경쟁디 강조 지수인
那么有很多人可能会有这样的一个疑问就是说那么法王你为什么特别的关注不动佛的
this practice of the Buddha Akshobhya? And so today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the reason for my interest in this particular practice.
让大家有个理解所以说法王要在这里稍微简单的解释为什么要关注此法特别的关注此法
다디 다시다 충분히 추준전에 참선이 농가서 이게 참선이 여기 오저에 나이네 참선이 공상
In my childhood, from time to time, I lost my temper. Usually I was okay, but from time to time I would get pretty angry. We all have the capacity to do this, of course. When I arrived in India, because I faced a lot of new challenges, I noticed that the incidence of my losing my temper began to increase. Afterwards, I felt great regret. I recognized clearly that getting angry is wrong. But while I was angry, I had no control over it.
이게 규루의 겁이야. 아니 그 수수기 이 सबसे 맞아라 제로 이게 규루의 겁이야. 나 간다 셈 맞아라 안 돼도 딱 되지 원이야. 네 아주 주세 지금 가지고 이 소나 된다 측다 되는 소리야. 주세 상방 상바를 때 이제 기타 불러 내가 내가 근데 인도산 미세게 보면 주고다 이 미세게 가수에지 간다더지 단 렌제의 산아들이 상바를 살아나도 내긴 저번 유명된 야 유명된 주세다 셈이야 셈소리 청구를 충분해 안 될라 댄치 수수기다 말 control is
After 4 years, when I began to work on the translation into Chinese from Tibetan of various texts concerned with the Buddha, the statement that one needs to be very, very careful about becoming angry, I began to develop a special feeling for the Buddha Akshobhya. I would say it's evidence of karmic connection. That sounds rather boastful. No idea. But some kind of special feeling. And once that feeling began to arise in me, I noticed that I became able to control my temper. I became very inspired, to use the English word, by the Dharma teachings connected with the Buddha Akshobhya. In the Ratnakuta Sutra, there is a section called the Sutra on the Realm of Akshobhya. And in this sutra, Buddha Shakyamuni tells us of the entire history of the Buddha Akshobhya from his initial bodhicitta, his becoming a bodhisattva, all the way up to his Buddhahood. Especially, the Buddha describes the many vast aspirations that the future Buddha Akshobhya made when he first generated bodhicitta. I think the most important of these is the aspiration and promise he made from now onward, now that today I have promised to become a bodhisattva. Until I achieve Buddhahood, I will never be angry or become angry at any sentient being. Akshobhya gained the name Akshobhya, which in the translation Mitrukpa means imperturbable and immovable. Both the Chinese and Tibetan names are translations of the Sanskrit name Akshobhya. In the case of Chinese, some of the early translators simply transcribed or transliterated the name Akshobhya into Chinese characters. Others translated it, and the Chinese translation means immovable. The Tibetan translation Mitrukpa has the connotation of undisturbable or imperturbable. Both imply the fact that the Buddha Akshobhya's mind is undisturbed or unmoved or unperturbed by any thought of anger. I don't want to say too much about this, but the strongest feeling I have for the Buddha Akshobhya is really a feeling based upon his aspiration. Don't forget that when he made that, he was still an ordinary person. And yet, as an ordinary person, he had the courage to promise never to become angry at anyone until he achieved Buddhahood. Compare that to us. We can't even be sure we're not going to get angry during any one day. We couldn't promise in the morning to not get angry before we go to sleep at night. In any case, Akshobhya's tremendous courage encouraged me and made me feel that maybe we could make some kind of promise or commitment to not getting angry. I didn't feel that I could promise never to get angry until Buddhahood because I have no idea what my future births will be. But I thought at least I can promise never to get angry from today for the rest of this life, or at the very least, not to get angry today. And I felt that this is something that we can all emulate, and perhaps should. If we approach the practice of Akshobhya as the supplication of a god, a person, of course that's fine, but I don't know if that would ever become the true or real practice of Akshobhya. Because really, Akshobhya is the embodiment of the courage to overcome anger. Until now, we've probably never really tried to expunge or eradicate the klesha of anger. Akshobhya serves to encourage us, inspire us, and tell us that we can overcome anger. And that is the true practice of Akshobhya.
这种精神、这种意志力、这种发心能不能在自己的心中升起一点点，尽可能的让它升起，这才是真正的修持不动佛。那么到目前为止，我们所有的人可以说我们大家都因为被对这个烦恼嗔心，就是不要说跟这个烦恼嗔心斗争，连可能就是有试试跟这个烦恼斗争的这种精神都可能没有，所以呢，就是说我们要真正的实际的修持这个不动佛呢，就是说就是让就是鼓舞自己的心，就是自己的内心升起一点勇气，就是能不能像不动佛一样，在内心升起这样的一个意志力，跟这个烦恼嗔恨做斗争，这才是真正的实际修不动佛。
现在当然是，精神上什么的，但是生活的精神上的勇士什么的，但是这些生活的心具化的但是包括全部比较，我的也就这样，我就能有点说的，就随便的做一点那些，随便好些过来是，但是包括预算的装备的一点呢，告诉人送给的就好像三个股，你送就起来，就好像三个这个电不出，这是也别套呢，这是就是那个拍摄那个这些人当，他说这预算多少么嘛加上多多的，嘛加多的，当然像俺们这边呢，大家他的把都这牛毛把当公开的。上班的时候，这个熊爬山的第二类，那个光头熊的男性给吃的这牛肉嘛嘞，大家没准备给他，他说两年以前，第一个他说在这哪做的呀？这什么新做的这，他说这，对，那当然是什么的呀？半个概念，老的念不起些。这是个随便或是要不是不些那种啊，原因上啊，就是精神上什么的，但是这些道理啊，但精神上是普遍能干得好多，那可能就生理，但生道理啊，还说但是这不吃，这个俺是原理，他说看。在那个不是能预报的这么一些，那是什么精神上的东西，差不多一些。
Anyway, the function of the Buddha Akshobhya is to give us courage, so that we become warriors in the special sense of being able to don the armor of patience. When a military warrior enters the field of battle, they do so without hesitation or fear because of the armor they wear, which protects them. In the same way, we have up to now feared to fight with our anger, feared to take it on, and that's why we've never dealt with it. Akshobhya gives us the courage to do so, to actually take on our anger. His inspiration causes us to develop a sort of warriorship of the mind, which of course is very different from the military warriorship of conquering others.
就是披上这个忍辱的铠甲，让我们的心呢提起精神，鼓舞起这个勇气，想要跟这个嗔心做斗争的这样的一个勇气升起来，就是披上这个忍辱的铠甲，跟这个烦恼的嗔心的这个烦恼做斗争，所以呢，就是说要从精神上或者心灵上呢，要升起这样的一个勇气，跟烦恼做斗争的勇气。那么这才是真正的勇士，并不是我们世俗上所说的这个跟敌人做斗争、杀敌人，被称为勇士，这不是真正的勇士，而是从精神上升起这个勇士，跟烦恼的敌人做斗争的话，这才是真正的勇士。
Now I'd better get down to it. The practice of Akshobhya is found within all schools of Tibetan Buddhism: Kagyu, Sakya, Nyingma, Gelug, and Jonang.
关于阿处佛的这样的法典，或者是说仪轨，那么在西藏藏传的佛教当中，四派，萨迦噶举尼玛别卢，还有觉囊等等，这些都有这个梅珠巴的修持。
那么都根据哪路来呀？那没谁的这，根据那可能什么来，这那买不，这还是那种车里呢，就忙的踏实。那这个长路去，那原先的是做的个出来这，他说他就。 아주 다 상황 나로래야지 리기 교화용의 아래 어디 주산에 상계 그래서 미규의 즉 상황에 도지 미규의 즉이니까 이런 게 막 그래지 양재 나라가 주시버리시
Especially among Kajupas, in particular Lords Marpa, Milla, and Gampopa, our forebears, our lineage ancestors, emphasized the practice in tantric practice of yidams of the Vajra family of Akshobhya from among the 5 Buddha families.
这3位祖师呢，主要的这个实际的修持呢，就是这个不动火人，哪里？ 就是在我们历程当中呢，有分很多的这个佛的种性轮，种性。那么这个不动佛呢是Majubri， 就是不动种性。不动种性是在快在放佛当中的不动佛人，金刚部呢，金刚部，
Within the Kagyu, we find in the Drukpa Kagyu lineage tremendous emphasis on Akshobhya practice. Among the Drukpa Kagyu practices are 4 that are called the 4 dharmas of immediate use. One of these is the dharma for the purification of karmic obscurations, and that is the practice of Buddha Akshobhya. I therefore think that among Kajupas, the Drukpa Kaju probably have the most extensive cycle and place the greatest emphasis on Akshobhya practice.
眼前所需四法，那么其中一法呢，就是为了清净业障而修这个不动佛的仪轨。那么这个是非常的就是在主巴嘎派当中呢，就是特别的注重修此法，为了清净业障而修这个不动佛。那么可以这样讲，就是说在现在的噶举派当中，那么对这个不动佛的这个仪轨的这种类吧，就是可以说是最多的应该是主巴嘎举。
但是呢，中国剧。 인지래가 아주 누가 유지했다 중국 유지래 제가 좀 민주비에게 지켜하고 계신게요 망샤도 나한테네 마 지르산다
Also, the Drikung Kaju have a vast Dharma cycle concerned with the Buddha Akshobhya.
也有非常多的这个仪轨。
다들 떠오른 거유를 찾아내면 떠오른 탕바 첨부디 떠오른 거유다 수행되거든. 떠오른 탕바 첨부디 민주주의 능주의 순간에 제가 대균전되는 민주주의의 최고로 예배를 주고 뭐를 도든 알아도 제마성 초가지 민주 은치지 대자마도 잘 이게 제마
The founder of the Talung Kaju, Talung Tongpa, is considered to have been an emanation of Akshobhya. I therefore assume that they must have an extensive Dharma cycle concerned with Akshobhya, but all I've been able to find so far is one sadhana and one commentary.
所以呢，就是也听说了这个当路噶举，这个叫当路噶举派呢，也有很多这个关于民主法的这个仪轨非常多。 但是访问实际看到就是只看到一个关于民主法的这个仪轨，还有一个它的注释，并没有看到很多很多。
那今天刚上路上面呢，也不少人嘛的，那因为呢，他本身我做是主要的，也不少。
Within our Kamtsang Kaju, the Akshobhya cycle is very much present, although it's not particular. In any case, while these aspects of history are interesting to me, I don't know how much use they are to you, but you've received copies of a daily practice of the Buddha Akshobhya. There are two main origins for the Akshobhya practice. One is the lineage of Lord Atisha, the other is the lineage of the Pandita known as victorious over enmity. These seem to be the two principal sources.
阿底峡尊者的传承，一个是跟着的金大人讲就是圣敌，应该是暂时的翻译圣敌，金大人圣敌，他跟着的大跟着的，他所传下的这个传承有两个主要的传承。
那呢，第一个的民族的，说起把那些的嘛，就是这意思。
I think this Akshobhya practice is descended from Lord Atisha. Although you've all received copies of the Akshobhya daily practice, I don't know whether you're going to practice it. And just because you've been giving the practice does not mean that I'm saying you have to do it. If you have no interest in doing it, then there's no rule that you have to. However, since at this point you've not received the empowerment, for me to explain the daily practice before presenting the empowerment would be doing things backwards. It would be a little inappropriate. Usually, I try to encourage Akshobhya practitioners by citing the several reasons why Akshobhya practice is important, and especially why it's particularly appropriate in this 21st century. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that. Because of the technological progress that has occurred by this present 21st century, the actions of beings, our actions, are thousands of times more powerful than they were in the past. Because of this, our destruction of the environment in this world and the harm we have brought to other species who share this planet with us is literally inconceivable. We cannot actually hold all of this in our minds.
一起同住在这个世界上的其他的动物，其他的众生、其他的动物对他们的这个危害有多大？那么这些呢都是超出了我们的这个心意，可以说是不可想象的，不可想象的，是无法想象的。
那这等于就是啥呢？本来就养生也是啥的这个，养生也是啥的，而且我们的要的，当然是第身体虽然是这先把先别给两个钱什么的，就是我们的要的，因为啊，我到他们这，到这去，他说的是所谓的这新鲜的东西，养生啊这呢，就所谓的这新鲜，当然是身体虽然的说所谓的这些简直差钱。 大家的俺来讲，在看出来这是加钱，俺这都钱都差的。
For example, there have always been fisher folk and people who slaughtered other animals. But nowadays, because all of this has been mechanized and has become part of huge mass production industries, it's much worse than it was before.
行为呢成为这个工业化，然后就是打鱼也好，这个在牛羊也好，那么比之前的这种力量呢是就是变得非常的大。
这里就是逻辑拿了呀，马上就专门给大家卡塞钱什么的，啥样的钱，曾经自己生意有个啥的。 장가 야자야 내가 하고 싶을 때 장가 지유돼야 된다 이면에 지금 가수를 루일 내버려 근데 지금 장가를 지금 아니가
If you think about how many animals are killed in one single year for the sake of human food consumption, the number surely must be inconceivable. I mean, there must be a number, but it must be so huge that it's unimaginably great.
虽然可能有一个数字，但是呢，可能难以估计。
当然，现在，当然是西人中会有的啊，当然就，就让你查询点，就到全部新鲜，当然是，好像这个苦肉给，那个查询破些，但刚也太这些。
We've also succeeded in almost utterly destroying our natural environment and certainly causing terrible environmental degradation. So this is the first reason for the appropriateness of Akshobhya practice. The power of our human actions and thereby the karma, which of course means action, that we accumulate, the power of cause and result in our actions nowadays.
강의에 채시버디 근데 채시다 지금 강의에 세트고서 당한 3일 3일 안에 한테 상주들이 세리고 먹지기 아까 교육이 내된다 제외 토안에 니즈이 먹지 않아 소리야 그렇지 알아 아들 된제 교육 내다 그림이 딱 맞을거지 딱 하고 알아 이내한테 하고 한 상식이 생겨 아주 하고 신도 단도야 못 투지해
The second reason is that while we're pretty sure that if we set about doing so, we could meet the challenges, we could resolve the problems we face. Our understanding, while it's there, appears to be insufficient to cause us to change how we live, to actually make the changes that will enable us to heal the environment and so forth. So the understanding of our problems and how to resolve them that we hold in our brains is not enough. We have to actually feel these situations very strongly in our hearts, and only thereby will we actually gain the resolution to solve them. Therefore, the principle, to use the English word, point of the Buddha's teachings is to change our minds, to improve our minds. I think that the world's religions could play a major role in helping us resolve the difficulties and meet the challenges that we face in this world today, especially since the Buddha Dharma emphasizes improvement of one's mind. It can contribute a lot to this.
다는 신기 소사 체리네 체와 뭐지기베 가수다 제네요래 다는 신기 난 조미리스기가 나한테 주이네 나를 세외라지 딱하다 상담이야 딱하다 직질이야지 딱하다 바이낸스서다지 파블리스서다 렌디즈 먹고 싶지 않게 하래 레이드산다 나를 세외라지 레이드 드리지기 나를 세외 선민주국에서 세련도안도 나간다를 규민주국이지 아무리 세련이야 민주배가 냐네 민주배가 되지 민도 민주국 냐네서 다가 공부 쉬어야 되지 나가지 파들지 공대로 지다 파지야 자주 쉬게 해서 이미지 가다를 가져야지 나간다를 선이야 이제다 지 명목가리야 지 갑자기 잡고 세나가고 이제 쇠도내기 민도다 수주로 봐야 될 게.
Especially the practice of the Buddha Akshobhya is connected with the overcoming of anger. We saw before how he is named Akshobhya, immovable or beyond agitation, because he has overcome anger. We face an even greater challenge than environmental destruction, and that is the presence of violence, to use the English word, in this world. We are violent toward and harm other species, and we are violent toward and harm other people, other human beings. If we can achieve a state without agitation, without being susceptible to responding to violence with more anger and more violence, this will bring resolution. In that context, the practice of Akshobhya must not simply be meditation on a deity seeking that deity's protection, but must be the development of the courage it takes to face the challenge of violence in this world without anger.
냐레세나다 시럽세나다 같은상 대상 접인 털이야 가지고 이제 3회 이제 하나셔서 제가 3회 이제 교수주사를 도착해요. 내일도 뒤주제 때문에 이제 다시 농업공사만 요즘 불규유에 대해서 잠시 가지고 이제 규가 또 되는 말 규대에다 규에 당하는 대신 아주 규리야 여기 권수가 난 시제 안에다지 강에 세트다 아는 신기다 지 예봐 어떻게 안 돌아오는데도 아주 신규리야 계약이 가다지 춘기에 차상지 근거가 잡히게.
The third reason why I recommend the practice of Akshobhya is actually very easy to explain. One of our particularly big problems nowadays is that because of the aforementioned technological development, we are accumulating an unprecedented amount of bad karma. There are ways in them. The value of the Tibetan tradition of Buddhism 1,000 years, Tibetans have not emphasized technological development or exploration. They have emphasized spiritual development. And these more than 1,000 years of spiritual experience are now well known to the world and respected by all the world. Therefore, we have means and methods through which, by relying on the instructions of a lineage of experience and realization, we can actually overcome our problems. We can actually improve ourselves.
发展外在的这个物质，但是呢，我们重点呢就是只是注重在这个佛法上面、佛教上面的这些就是发展并没有去注重外在的物质的发展。所以说，从1000多年来一直到现在，我们已经累积了非常多的这个佛法上面的这样的一个精神或者是说经验，或者是说智慧，有一定的这样的累积。所以呢，当今很多这个世界上呢正在就是关注的我们西藏的这些1000多年来所累积的这些精神、这些实修这些智慧，所以呢我们就是说现在呢就是重点就是把这些1000多年所传下来的这样的一个过去的祖师们的这些口诀也好，或者是智慧也好，怎样运用到这个实际当中来去解决这些困难，解决这些过失，怎样去制止这些过失，那么怎样让这些实际的方法在每个人的心绪当中能够升起来，这点是非常的重要。我觉得说这些是非常的重要的。
야부시 때에면 내 야부시 고쳐면서 나한테 대승이에 딱 간다야 시행시사인가 네 이제 양가 시험 좀 가나 하고 네 인사다 제수부디 딱 요새 나무 숨서는다 내가 대신 나한테 주변에 차디 나도 지단계에 좀 하버도 들은 이제지 나와야 되지 이제 딱 하다 양의 차디 계속이 되지 딱 이제
Well, I've explained the three reasons why I feel that Akshobhya practice is extremely relevant and appropriate nowadays. I'm not that confident that I explained them clearly enough that you actually remember them, but I've explained them and I'm not going to explain it again. So let's assume that you did understand them and that you therefore now know why Akshobhya practice is relevant and important.
所以呢，这3点呢，就是不管怎样，这3点是法王觉得说，在这21世纪当中呢，就是这3点对我们整个呢是非常的这个重要。
但是呢， 你是么的写文章嘛，是中你把写就是的要讲，就是更多的因为呢，大家就是当地呢，俺们这边当时没意思，你看3天的，不像是我些，他们你自己学些不行。
OK， 那么我们还有剩下这个20分钟的这个时间啊，时间是有一点。
I'm supposed to talk until 12 p.m., but although we have time, I'm running out of energy. So we'll only go for another 20 minutes. You may have the idea that the practice of Akshobhya involves setting up a nice image of Akshobhya, setting forth offerings in front of it, lighting some incense, bowing and kneeling to the image, joining your palms in prayer, and saying, please. You may think that that's what the practice is. That is not really the authentic practice of Akshobhya. As long as we think of Akshobhya as a person other than ourselves, and ourselves as someone who seeks that person's protection, we're missing the point. The point is, we want to become Akshobhya. Now, becoming Akshobhya does not mean immediately starting to wear robes like Akshobhya's and walk around with our hands in the position of Akshobhya's hands. It means we want to become the absolute or ultimate Akshobhya, which is a mind that is not agitated by kleshas. So really, Akshobhya is a state of freedom and realization, freedom from agitation by the kleshas.
认识就是不动佛是一个断证圆满、具有断证圆满功德的这样的一个体性，就是说不被烦恼、不被嗔心扰乱自信，具有功德的这样的一个体性。
当然，那个这个民主被拒绝起来，搞的那人民不民主的那个是光顾了的。其实他说人民上给恰好上面的，这些他怎么修正不了业绩？他刚才修业绩，那上给恰里呢？还是这公主那边给上给去用嘛，我走。那这传统上的上给钱了，我走。这里就是说，他上给钱了，上给这不打过去讲了嘛，到上给都钱了。我这地球在这呢，说人民民主的那会儿，我们民主为因上面，那这几个呗，这三个人一百几的话，那个有些人给这些，那说的手续办了，那说的印度给，那这些我，所以地球在这呢，那这些管了，有钱人不做，大概这些俺都手续办了，印度给啊，咱那些什么，那你大概的办给啊，这些吧，所以就是地球在这呢。这几个大家的啊，说的大家的两面相的典型，属于生育的听我们一辈的，大家的几个都几个，开不了他的，那就原点都是第二切换的开始。
For example, while engaging in the daily practice of Akshobhya, you need to actually think of yourself as the Buddha Akshobhya. You need to give rise to the courageous state of mind, I have achieved Buddhahood as the Buddha Akshobhya. Well, what does that mean? Once you've achieved Buddhahood, you can't go on getting angry at people, being jealous of people. A Buddha is always a good Buddha. There are no nasty, vile Buddhas. So once you've acknowledged your mind as Akshobhya, you can no longer behave in a vile way. And this brings us to the main reason for such practices. The main reason is to encourage us, to give us the heroism in our minds to overcome anger and other kleshas. The point of the practice is we have to develop real qualities, special qualities.
所以就是我们为什么要观想自身是这个佛呢？就是要在自序的心绪当中升起一个勇气，升起这种一个精神意志力，就是说自己也能够像不动佛一样的利益众生，就是说在心绪当中不被这些烦恼心，不被这个嗔心来扰乱自心，就是要升起不动佛的。特别的或者是不共的，他的功德都想方法升起在自己的心绪当中，这才是重要的。
所以在牛把看在这个刚刚气血的观察的要是，但是他说的，我们就是牛毛的切水前刚好多，牛毛的切的是。牛毛的切水前的，牛毛过来呀，全上面呢这个都，当俺的这些这个说的，这个牛这送当然讲了，但全上面呢这个都俺的这些大部分也是，但现在这俺说的切水前看，全上面呢这个都俺的这些大部分也是，这个那年了，属于的生育的呀，但是属于的一高的吧，属于的一往超多吧。那咱看到这些个生理啊，它原点都是过了，原点强不的年纪，那成熟生理这些，那它生东方没有，那它生理啊俺说的甲变色也有东西，变色甲色也有东西，这是过了，真的是刚才没有记得呀，俺这这方面呢，这个东俺了，这在哪个学生是哎，那。很多现在多的他的是啥？全南的话方面都，俺的全南古都是还都去，那这些马路旁边是吧？那可能刚开车用个别，但是牛毛的呀，这脚是觉得嘛到线，但是叔叔人都突然去买的，所以就是这就是这样呢，他那俺就是去，我说这个民主边个，那这确实两边的车，叔叔新旧的呀，俺那的这印度港，俺那个这土木门边去。 原点都是给不起，这里这个原点说是有往朝，说是什么高的原点，这是原为米的，那西呢就用我们的开的车回来这个，用我们的呀这70年的大家的包括都是用这样，不得什么。
I think our biggest problem in facing our kleshas is letting go of them, giving them up, saying to our kleshas, I can live without you because I've got better resources, better stuff than you. The only way that we're going to have the courage to say that is if we've actually discovered something better than the kleshas in our mind, such as bodhicitta, love, compassion. We need to find the resources in our mind that can enable us to deal with situations more effectively than the kleshas can. Without the discovery of such resources, we don't dare renounce the kleshas because they will seem to be our best resource in times of difficulty. So, the point of Akshobhya practice is to develop amazing qualities in your mind. So amazing that in contrast, you see how shoddy, impractical, and harmful the kleshas are, and are therefore willing to say goodbye to them. If you don't treat your translators nicely, they might be reborn as pretas. So this afternoon we have the empowerment of Akshobhya, and other than that I don't really have anything to say this morning.
请结心到前面来，请将结心到前面来。感谢各位，早上的开示已经结束了。那么中午的时候，我们基本上不清场，中午不清场。那如果你要出外用餐的话，我们下午开放进场的时间是下午1点开始开放进场。
So this morning session has concluded. Our afternoon session will begin at 1. It will begin at. The doors will open at 1 p.m. So if you leave for lunch break, do come back as soon as possible. You'll have to go through the security check again, and the doors will be open once again at 1 p.m. However, if you
那么下午的灌顶时间是3点钟开始，下午的灌顶是3点开始。如果您出去用餐的话，我们下午1点开始开放进场，1点开始开放进场。同时呢，在楼上所卖的水哈是这个 Terrace on the Park 他们自己单位卖的水。我们达朗普山基金会在1楼大门出去的地方有为各位准备了矿泉水，如果您出去的时候，可以到楼下1楼大厅那个入口的地方，我们有水准备给您。所以如果你要出外用餐的话，麻烦您尽早回到现场，因为人数很多。
When you're entering again for the afternoon session, do remember to take with you the ticket stub so that you may re-enter the venue. The doors will open at 1 p.m. and the afternoon session will begin at 3 p.m. But because there's a lot of us here, so do come back from lunch as soon as possible. And Danang Foundation has prepared water for you that you may collect at the lobby on the first floor. Alternatively, you may also purchase water from this stall here that is manned by Terrace on the Park.
那么下午入场的时候，大家请注意，下午入场的时候，我们在早上的时候，在您的手背上有盖了蓝色的章，如果蓝色的章的手背的章被洗掉不见了，下午的时候还是要拿着您的门票入场。那么下午入场的时候，还是要经过安检的程序，所以请您尽快回到现场。
So the afternoon session will begin at 3 p.m. Doors will open once again at 1 p.m. When you re-enter, you have to go through security check again. And do make sure you have your ticket stub with you, especially if the stamp that we have stamped on your wrist is washed off.
那么下午入场的时候，法会是3点钟开始。如果超过3点钟回到现场，到时候我们的进场的入口会关闭，所以大家要把握时间。3点半之后入场会关闭。
So be mindful that the session in the afternoon will begin at 3 p.m. Doors will open at 1 p.m. However, doors will close at 3:30. So if you arrive later than that, you may be locked out of the venue.
Hello, 我是北北区域委员来学习了。对人工了，你学了去七楼了偏南这个度，南楼了修南这个度，你七楼了学了去偏远南脚在出偏路去送度，就是东部了，我做加国的过去个度，人工加入了，就是东部了，你就是东部过做长马出偏路去，你就是松巴了刚我过做的，就是松巴了我你加国的几个颜色，你就是松巴眼了，引起面去偏那个啥的。你这种对的出去话，别忙不多，结果呢，你冷的呢，长嘛要配过的，干了有啥的？我才出配到呢，脚才出配到呢，有啥的？需要人长嘛了，都进去。你的我做的操控呢了，拍就了球重要多，对我做单弄操把个重要嘛的，可能这操控打破个重要的，等你我做单弄操把个球的，拖着动不了，或者修度，你马配的球去先那这个人，人把没别个你或者修度，我了球度是需要引导。你长嘛了突击去，脚在马片的脚在出配路去，你弄了修个那弄了修那这个度突击去。Hello。那么就学着唐波了去偏南这个度，他西罗了呀，你当然做过他的，你学的是人民普及的，那么就学学个偏南那个度。
But I know a lot of you are still unsure how to access the English translation or the Spanish translation.